Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Chelyn from 8-Bit Co-op, and I'm here with another exciting adventure of Pillars of Eternity. And when we left off, we had stopped the conflict between the miller, Trumbull, and the townsfolk. So we are going to go ahead and move on from there. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to getting is my stronghold. So as you can see, we've looked through a great portion of the town. Let's see what tasks we have yet. Seek help for our condition, and oh no, we did not. That's the task that we were given. Okay. I don't know why, maybe I was jumping ahead in my brain thinking that I had already done it, so let's go ahead and see if we can find Swainer. They said that he is in the inn. So let's go ahead and find him.
Nice and quiet.
Okay, I am always partial to some drinky drink. So, let's go ahead and put those right there. Okay. One of the things that I did find out, however, is that whenever you sneak, the sneaking definitely gives you some options that you may not have. For example, you may find things that you wouldn't find if you weren't stealth. So it may behoove you to walk around in stealth even when you normally wouldn't. So, Ingrid, this man and woman appear to have been deep in conversation, working at closing two bulging satchels. They move to embrace until the woman notices your approach and pauses, her smile faltering a little.
Welcome.
Can we help you? She looks to her companion, brows furrowing with confusion. Do you know this woman, Naunton? Naunton coughs. Yes, I think we met in the Valewood. I warned her about the bear. He inclined his head. Glad to see you've made it. Was there something else you wanted? You two seem to be in a hurry. Yes, I imagine so, Ingrid laughs. We're packing for a trip, actually. I've been meaning to visit Defiance Bay and, well, in truth, I think I've had my fill of this town. Naunton reaches to take her hand. It's time for some new scenery, he says. Is there something you could tell me about Gilded Veil? Ingrid smiles wryly. Only that you'll want to be moving on as soon as you can. You'll have seen the tree, I imagine, but the rot goes deeper. If you're looking for work, I'd say you have a better chance of it elsewhere. We're headed for Defiance Bay ourselves, Naunton adds. Well, goodbye. Let's see what they got, since they don't seem to mind me pilfering their belongings. This bottle of Sunraid is half empty. Okay. Evidently someone's been drinking the Sunraid. So, let's go see what the rest of the town has to offer. His name is in blue. You see a pair of immaculately polished leather boots and an impeccably maintained goatee. He seems to know most of the merchants in the market, stopping to engage some, nodding at others, even bartering for minor goods with a select few, always smiling, laughing, exchanging jibes. He approaches a heavy-set Aoma, smile plastered stiff across his face, and jokes about the weather. She jokes back, subtly palming him several gold coins. When he walks away, the paper in his hand is gone, the smile on his face far more genuine. He tips a cap at her, winking, and trundles off with a new spring in his step. That's interesting. This is gold. And a pretty lengthy one. You see a large crowd gathered in the middle of a courtyard. This man stands in the midst of them, a cloak pulled over his head, holding it close around his neck. The crowd has congregated against a platform, and they all watch transfixed as a man is led to the platform, flanked by 2 city guardsmen. The man is shackled hand and foot, but carries himself as a nobleman, not deigning to even glance at the crowd. The cloaked man pulls his cover closer around his face and turns to leave, hunching over to avoid being seen. A crier on the platform unrolls a parchment and begins to read, but the man pays no attention, intent on getting away from the courtyard. The crier's voice grows louder and more intense as he reads, and voices from the crowd start to punctuate his sentences. The jeers and shouts grow more frequent, and with each one the cloaked man flinches and his shoulders droop. He breaks from the crowd, coming to the edge of the courtyard as the crier reaches the end of his proclamation. The crowd grows silent again, save for the occasional shout. The man turns back to look at the platform, seeing his father kneeling before the block, neck exposed. The executioner moves into position, lifting his axe to strike. The man turns suddenly, unable to watch. There is a wet thunk, and the crowd breaks into cheers and applause. He leans against the wall, regaining his composure, and then straightens up. With obvious resolve, he strides off, away from the crowd and his legacy. That would be a very tough position to be in. I mean, as someone who has, you know, lost parents, that's tough enough, but, you know, to lose them in such a rough manner, that would definitely be, I don't know, I don't think I could do it. The name is in gray. That's not a good sign. You see a crowded marketplace, vendor stalls lining the road, their proprietors' voices calling out to passerbys to come sample their wares. This woman wanders through the throng, strolling hand in hand with another woman. They peruse the vendor's goods, tearing at a book merchant with a number of old and beautiful tomes, chatting with one another about what they see. One will pick up a book and show it to the other, who will take it, comment about it, and put it back on its shelf. Then the first will snatch up the book again and quickly pay the merchant before the other can snatch it back. They walk away from the market, weighed down by packs filled with books, still hand in hand, standing close, comfortable, and familiar with each other. As they pass down a somewhat deserted street, an object suddenly hits this woman in the chest and bounces off, rolling away towards one of the buildings. The women stop and look at the object, an apple, then back up at the person who threw it. There's nothing special about him aside from the angry look on his face and 2 other apples he holds. Before either woman can move, the man draws back and throws another one at them, this time hitting the second woman in the forehead. He yells at them, something derisive and hateful, something about a legacy and about responsibilities. This woman raises her hand to her head, wipes the juice and bits of fruit from her face, and stares the man down defiantly. The first woman squeezes her hand and puts the other on her companion's shoulder, attempting to calm her down. The other woman pulls a book from her pack and holds it before her, muttering under her breath. She pulls her hand free and waves it above the book, an aura forming around her. The first woman is trying to calm her down, but all she says goes unheard. The man, uncaring of the events happening in front of him, draws back and throws the last apple. As it arcs through the air towards him, the second woman brings up her hand and points at the apple. A glowing orb of energy flies from her hand and strikes the apple, causing it to explode, raining bits of apple down on the road and buildings around them. The man's face changes, anger joined by fear, looking like he's trying to decide if running or attacking is the best course of action. The second woman has started chanting again, her hand glowing, her eyes narrowing. This woman steps in front of her, placing herself between her love and their attacker. She touches her face, gently stroking it while whispering calming words, a kiss. The woman's countenance changes. She calms, her eyes softening, her lips regaining the last smile. The first woman smiles again as well and kisses the other. "Wizard scum," the man behind them says, and the two women turn to face him, staring him down defiantly. They join hands and begin walking again, moving past him without so much as a sideways glance. You see a key. Turn gently, steadily, and hear a ghostly click as the door swings inward. Two figures slip in, locking the door behind them, and begin their prowl. Their hunt is efficient, and it takes them little time to acquire a sizable collection of documents in oddly shaped velvet pouches. Quick hands fill pockets, rucksacks, bags. The door opens downstairs and everything freezes. Footsteps, a tired giggle. The thieves are all eye whites and short breath as they empty their pockets of all but the necessities. Anything noisily, hurriedly replaced. Silence from downstairs, then tentative steps up the staircase. A voice calls out. One thief creeps forward, the other gesticulating wildly for him to return. He continues forward, crouching by the banister. He sees a gaudy shoe and shoves. The woman falls with a cut-off scream, rolling lifelessly to the floor below. Swearing, the second thief grabs her brother and they make their escape, collecting whatever value they can on the way out. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is that when you hover over these tables, the hand is red, and that does mean that you are stealing from them, basically.
I'll see what I can find.
Since we're stealthing, I am going to activate fast mode so we walk a little bit quicker. So let's see what else this town has to offer, if anything. See the ghost? That's kind of cool. Now these plants and things that I'm picking up so that I'll be able to craft. Oh, that's a bright orange. You see a pennant waving tall and sluggish in the wind, a rising sun embroidered on the banner, the vanguard of a small troop of paladins. The atmosphere is buoyant, if restrained, and their armor has not yet been tarnished by the elements. This expedition is fresh, young, filled with zest and zeal. At their head stands a commander, awkward, in full armor, but determined in step. Despite the excitement of his fellows, he does not smile. There's a twist to his mouth, his countenance grim. He throws up a hand, halting his troop. Silence falls among them, revealing a dark thunder, deep and low. He orders them to ready their weapons and spread out. Eyes dart from horizon to horizon, necks twisting to see the source of the sound. In the distance, dust and lightning rise from the ground as Stygian clouds race towards them overhead. The soldiers stand, only the staccato movements of their breath betraying their nerves. The commander closes his eyes, calling a blessing down on his troop. Invigorated, invincible, they wait as the enemy draws closer, poised to attack.
The better part of valor.
That is something that I think we will look at after we explore the rest of the town. I just feel like there's something over here that we can get to a little bit. I'm gonna try talking to Adair again. Welcome to our lovely village. Maybe not yet. There's that mean guy. Okay. It seems like this is the lore central, where you get a great portion of your lore. So that's one of the reasons why I'm stopping to look at the majority of the lore, is because this is where it seems like a lot of the lore lines start. Alfre. Weren't we looking for Alfre? A Derwoodian woman is standing in front of the fireplace, humming a quiet tune to herself, or perhaps to her unborn child, for she is clearly quite pregnant. She turns her head slightly as you enter.
Hello.
Well, finally, I was starting to think. The woman makes a startled noise when she turns around and sees you. Oh, I'm sorry, I was expecting someone else. She gives you a cautious smile. Can I help you? I just arrived in Gilded Veil. I thought I'd get to know the locals. Were you with one of the caravans? She looks at you hopefully. Master Adamas by chance? I was, yes. I'm afraid the rest of the caravan was killed. Alfre covers her mouth with a hand, eyes wide with horror. For a few moments she can manage nothing but a strangled, voiceless gasping, her eyes brimming with tears. I knew. I told her it was a dangerous path to take. Chelyn was always so certain she could take on any danger. Alfre sniffles. Oh, my poor sister. I'm sorry, stranger. I can't believe she's gone. If only I hadn't called her here. If I hadn't written to her, she might still be alive, somewhere. Alfre's face crumples, and a solitary tear slides down her cheek. Chelyn mentioned that she thought you needed help. Perhaps I can provide some assistance. Alfre looks at you with some surprise, before dabbling at her nose with a sleeve. That's kind of you to offer, but I don't know if I could impose this on you. It's not a small favor. Alfre wipes at her eyes. I'm worried about the baby, about the legacy. I told Chelyn as much as I could, but all I know is that for a long time now, every child born in Gilded Veil has been soulless, empty. It's happened to so many mothers, and with Lord Raedric, he's exiled all of them, calling it a sign of the gods' disfavor. She sniffles. With my Hathor gone, I don't know how I'd manage if I lost my home, too. I hoped Chelyn could help me. They say Ranga, the old midwife, knows a way to prevent a child being hollow-born, but she moved south to Anslog's Compass 2 seasons ago. The journey's too far for me. I can't make it as I am. But I don't have anyone else now, with Chelyn gone. More tears run down her face. Please, can you help me? I'll find Ranga for you. Alfre blinks, eyes wide. You will? Oh, God's bless you. Here, I'll give you coin to pay her with. You needn't trouble yourself with that. I think it's a drink she fashions out of, well, I'm not sure. But it shouldn't be too much of a burden to carry back. Now, you'll see it says Gilded Veil, slight positive. You can earn reputations. And reputations can be, like it says up here, held with communities or factions, and will affect how that group responds to you, and also how the people who interact with that group respond to you as well. So helping that group can give you either positive or negative responses from that group in your future. So that's something to really pay attention to in the as you go along, because that's really important in order to get some options to come up. Anslog Compass is what we call the lagoon to the south. You'll have to cross the wilds to get there. That's what keeps me from trying it myself. She clasps her hands together. Thank you again, truly. You'll be saving us both. She sets a hand on her stomach, smiling through her tears. So, if you go into your character sheets, and you see party reputations, Gilded Veil is now neutral. So these are the party specific party reputations, and then these right here are your character reputations. So you will be able to figure out, you know, which reputations are which. Now again, you see that there's the red hand, so all of them are
The better part of valor.
stealing. These cutscenes have little snippets on them that are very, very helpful, so I would definitely go ahead and read it. What I'm going to do is go ahead and get us down here to the inn, and then at that point I'm going to go ahead and, for the sake of time, call it an episode, because it seems like we've hit here, we've hit here, we've hit here, we've hit all of here. It seems like we've gone ahead and explored the greater majority of the village, so okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and check in with
Greetings.
Pasha. Oh, greetings and welcome to the Black Hound Inn. The innkeeper bows her head curtly. Please sit where you like. Would you like a drink? Or room? We have 2 available at the moment. I'm afraid we can't offer much by way of a good meal today, she sighs, unless you're fond of cold porridge. Really? Well, let me see. The actual building's been here for years, but the Black Hound's fairly new. We get a lot of new faces in here too. Fewer than we used to, I'll admit. I used to work the tables actually until the old owner up and left. Nobody's sure what happened to him. Even left his poor hound behind. That's the name, see? The Black Hound. It's still sitting upstairs pining after him. Poor old girl. Place ended up in my hands somehow, she laughs. My very own inn. A lot of hard work involved, but it's been worth it so far. I could use some reliable help. Do you know of anyone looking for work? Oh, well, I wouldn't say I could speak from experience, but we do have certain sorts coming by looking for work from time to time. If you want to hire someone on, I'd be happy to send them your way. Let me see what I have to work with. And then here's where you can recruit an adventure for a certain amount of copper. However, it's very close to my level of copper, so I'm not gonna go ahead and do that. There are different levels of rooms. You can get a common room, which is 0. You can get a laborer's rest, which these 2 rooms you pay for, but you also get a time-limited bonus. So I'm going to go ahead and take a copper room, and with that I'm going to go ahead and thank you for joining me in this episode of Pillars of Eternity, and I hope that you oh, here's a cutscene. Let me finish this first. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of Gilded Veil's gallows tree. The creaking of its ropes grow louder in your mind until its sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman, whose face has shriveled inward like moldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she's mere inches from your face. Suddenly, her head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air she speaks a word. Watcher. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Though it fills you with a new queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. Okay, so it looks like in the next episode what we'll be doing first is going to talk to the dwarf animancer that's on the tree, or seeing hopefully that she's dead, and with that, I'll see you next time. Thank you.